always prevailed.
The Colonial Office in England sent out an instruction to our first governor in New Zealand that the education of the Maori was to be a responsibility of the government. The government, of course, had no resources, and so it helped the missions. It said, let the missions educate the Maoris, but we'll help them and subsidise them. It was during this time that the denominational schools, those schools that have the longest history in New Zealand, Te Aute, St Stephen's, Queen Victoria, Hukariri, St Joseph's, it was during this time that these schools were established. Now this went on until around about the 1860s, when the Native Department began to establish some schools. When the Education Department was set up in 1879, it took over these, what were then called native schools, and from that time it has administered a native school section. An interesting thing about these early days, going right back to the very beginning, was that in the initial instruction from England, it was laid down that the policy of assimilation was to be carried out. That is, the Maori was to be turned into a European as soon as possible. So in the early schools, and in the Maori schools run by the Education Department, after 1880, no Maori was allowed in the schools. The children were required to drop everything Maori the moment they entered the gate. And I'm afraid, and it's rather a sad story, they were even punished if they were heard to speak Maori or show any signs of their Maori origin. The pity was that when we did get to know more, we persevered with it. And it was carried on until around about 1930. Now in 1930, and this was under Mr. Peter Fraser, a change was made in the schools, and Maori art, some Maori craft as much as possible, song and haka, that is, the Maori, some aspect of Maori life was brought into the school in an endeavour to make the Maori children feel that the school did in some way belong to them. But looking back on it now that's nearly over 30 years, I realise it wasn't enough. What we introduced was the more or less superficial, I don't like using that word, but it really is, the obvious superficial culture of the Maori, the things that the tourist notices, that's the song and the dance and the haka and so on. Now, there are deeper things than that make a people.
The ethos of the Maori is fundamental to his spiritual balance and harmony, but certain of its values and virtues actively militate against success on competitive Pākehā terms. His attitude to property, for example.
Want to see some Michael Jackson dance moves? He did those moves at the Grammys.
Al, boys afraid of undies.
Nuts, 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 nuts. Cruise, who here's head nuts? Hey, shut up. Now, who knows what disease this sheep has got?
AIDS.
Not AIDS, you dork.
Yes, because it looks like Murray and he's got AIDS.
Don't be stupid. Kids can't get AIDS, only gays.
Yeah, well, he's a gay. He goes out with boy.
Shut up, Kingy.
Ooh, what are you gonna do? Get your brother on me or something?
That picture looks like Kingy's undies when he shat his pants on sports day. Remember?
Fuck up, boy.
You fuck up.
You fuck up.
You fuck up.
Hey, both of you fuck up or I'll send you to the principal.